On today's Join Us in France, Elyse and I look back on the inaugural tour and share with you thoughts that you can apply to your own trip to Paris. This is Join Us in France, episode 152. Bonjour, I'm Annie, and today I bring you a conversation with Elyse on our inaugural tour in Paris. It was a fun and busy week, and I'm afraid we'll never have quite that wonderful of a group ever again, but we'll keep trying because we had such a good time. We've already scheduled one more of these tours, and we'll add more to the calendar very soon. Now, I hadn't planned a time and place to record impressions from tour members while we were together in person, but I've since managed to talk to one tour member, Stephen Struck. Thank you so much, Stephen. I'm hoping to record some more soon. But today, at the end of this episode, you'll get to hear from Stephen, and that'll be right after my chat with Elyse, and you'll see he's a hoot. Our next tour in Paris is scheduled for October 1st through October 7th of 2017, and it will be up for sale on Addicted to France. In the next few days, I will launch it with a nice discount for those of you who are ready to buy before the end of June. So to get your discount code, make sure you open the next Join Us in France email newsletter that will come to your inbox. And if you're not a subscriber to the newsletter, visit either joinusinfrance.com or addictedtofrance.com and join. It's the same list. If you have questions about the tour or want to give feedback on this episode, you can leave me a voicemail at 801-806-1015. For the show notes on this episode, go to joinusinfrance.com/152 or look at your podcast app. You can read the show notes right there, and you can click on the links too. I've decided to change things around a little bit and put my personal update as well as the acknowledgements, the thank yous, and voice feedback at the end of the show so we can get into the heart of today's topic faster. So be sure to stick around until the end. And now, here's the show. This is Join Us in France, episode 152. Bonjour, I'm Annie.
And I am Elyse.
Yes, she is Elyse. And we have been chatting all afternoon about...
Oh, we have been chatting. This is what we do best.
This is what we do. We have been chatting about this wonderful tour, inaugural tour that we just completed.
Just
barely. And we are now setting new dates for upcoming tours. And also we are going to change a few things because now that we've done it, we've heard what our tour members kind of were wishing we'd do differently a little bit. Well, I mean, nobody asked for us to do things differently, but people are like, oh, couldn't we do this? Couldn't we do that? And there was just no time because we packed in a lot of stuff.
Oh boy, we packed in so much that I am first getting over this. No. We really had a wonderful, really packed in week. And a couple of suggestions. And also, we've just been doing some brainstorming and coming up with a couple of new ideas of our own.
Yes, improve. You know, you always have to improve on what you've done and try and
also, just because it makes it more interesting to try new things,
Exactly. So, on this tour, it was really interesting to me to see how other people do tours. We ran into a lot of big groups.
Oh, yes.
Big groups.
Oh, well, we know about that.
With, some poor tour guide at the front holding up a placard or an umbrella or something, trying to get everybody's attention, where it was just a one-way conversation. So the guide talks to the people, and that's it, right?
It's just like a factory.
Yeah, it's like having somebody talk at you And you like it, you don't like it, it's all the same.
Yeah.
You know, just move on.
Right.
And what we did is completely different from that. And in you know, when I was setting up the website, I thought that touring with us is like touring with family, and I think it worked out that way.
I think it did. I think you were the mommy and I was the daddy. You really were the mommy. You were much more than I was, I have to say.
Why do you say that?
Well, because I think you were the kind of the cuddly, I'll take care of you one of the two of us. And I was the kind of like, well, this is what we're going to do. And this is what we're going to talk about today. And whatever.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah, it was really good. We lucked out so much on the people who came. And I always knew it was going to work out this way because I knew that you guys choose us based on the podcast.
Based on the podcast, that's right.
So if you despise the podcast, you would never be listening to this and you would not be booking a tour with us, right? So it's like self-selecting, but just in one direction.
One direction.
You know us, and it was really, really exciting, but a little bit strange to show up on the first night and have everybody greet us like we were long lost friends, right?
It's true. It is a little odd, especially when having somebody, well, I guess we can say names, having Steve, for instance, say to me, "Oh, it's just like listening to you on the podcast." Yeah. And at first, I didn't know what to think of that. I just like, is that good or is that bad? This is such a strange thing to say to me.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like, really. Yeah. But it was also nice that they were really from everywhere in the country.
Exactly. There were people from all over the U.S. So we had
Florida,
Texas, Michigan,
California,
Colorado, yes. And one that lives in France.
Right.
Steve.
Right.
He was in California before, and now he lives in France. Right. So it was very fun to have all these different perspectives. We also had
various ages.
But everybody kept up. Everybody was just really gung-ho, and it was fantastic.
It was a really good week.
Yeah. So we are going to do something similar again, and the dates are going to be October 1st through October 7th.
Right. From Sunday to
Saturday late. Yes. And that's going to be 2017. And then we'll announce some other dates as well. We haven't had time to look at some dates for 2018. But be assured, I would really like us to have next year, so in 2018, I would like us to have 4 tours in Paris.
You better make me younger. I'm warning you right now.
I don't know what to do about that.
I don't know what to do about that either.
But I would really like to be able to do 4 tours in 2018 because it's so much fun. I was on a high.
She was on a high, but you have to know she finally admitted it is really tiring.
It is very tiring, and I can't imagine how you ever did this by yourself.
You know, now that I've done it with you, I don't know how I ever did it by myself.
Yeah, that's it. That is a lot.
Yeah,
of
it really is.
Responsibility, you know, and little things can go wrong, and different people want different things, and so you sometimes have to go off.
Right.
And that's the advantage of having a tiny group, and then because there's 2 of us, we could split up a little bit, and you know that's really, really fun.
And it was so much fun.
Yes, it was very good. So essentially what we did, for those of you who haven't listened to the announcement, or maybe have forgotten because it's been several months we haven't talked about this, we started out going to a wine bar.
What else?
Yeah, what else would you do?
What else would you do in Paris?
So going out to a wine bar, and then we went to do a cruise on the River Seine.
And the Bateau Mouche?
It wasn't the Bateau Mouche, it was Vedette de Paris.
It was Vedette de Paris.
But it's the same. It's the same idea. And I think next time we'll add in a little bit of time on the Sunday afternoon at the Luxembourg Gardens.
Yeah, it's my favorite park.
So start a little earlier. On Sunday afternoon, the Luxembourg Gardens are fantastic. So explore around there, talk about Catherine de Medici, which is what Elyse will do because that's what she does. Me, I'll just showing you all the, weird old French people.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you now, just for a second, because someday after the tour was basically over, and you went off, of course, to Giverny, and I wandered back into the gardens, at Luxembourg Gardens, because I just love it there, and so I love it, and I love the fountain, and I love the chateau, and I love the whole thing. And I'm wandering around with this smile on my face, and I see these two guys passing me going the other way. They were leaving, and I hear one of them say to the other, "What an ugly place this is." You know? And I'm thinking to myself, where do these two people come from? I don't get it, you know?
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Yeah, well, and maybe if they have no context, if they don't know, if you put somebody who knows nothing about art in front of most marvelous pieces of art, they're going to say, that's ugly.
I guess so.
Yeah. Because if it doesn't match their taste, since they have no education on this matter, they'll be like, whatever. What's the big deal, you know?
I guess so. It was just like I thought,
Well, it's kind of like me and the Champs-Élysées. I have no appreciation for shopping. So you put me on the Champs-Élysées, I'm like, oh, goodness. Stores, chain stores to boot.
Mostly now, unfortunately,
you could find the same stores
anywhere else.
Anywhere in the US or in France or, So to me, but I guess if you are a shopaholic and if your thing is shopping, then you'd be happy as a clam on the Champs-Élysées, So anyway, so that was our first day, is meeting all these wonderful people and getting to know you, and us getting to know you instead of you feeling like you know us, and it just
strange.
Finally went both ways, being acquainted with these listeners. And then what did we do the Monday? We didn't get up too early any of the days.
No, we were okay. I
think the earliest we started was 9 a.m.
Yeah, that was the earliest.
And I think sometimes it was
9:15 most of the time, and a couple of times 10 o'clock. So it was very nice. We had very full days, but we didn't have to worry about pushing everybody out of bed very early.
Right.
Which means everybody was more or less relaxed by the time we met up with them.
Right.
And then having a good, long, very busy, dense day with lots of nice meals together in the evening.
Right. Yes, and that's another thing where I think we lucked out, is that all the places we picked to eat, I think we had mostly tried all of them.
Yeah.
A couple we hadn't tried
before. But they were good.
But all of them were really good. Yeah. Because what my philosophy is with food is you need to find a good value. You don't always want to pay. If you pay $100, it's going to be good, no matter what,
Maybe. I've never paid $100 per person.
But, I've been in situations where you pay $100 and yes, it's always good, but you've paid $100, right? So what my goal is to keep it around,
kept it around 30, 30, 35.
30, 35 for dinner, and maybe 15 to 20 for lunch.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
It was very good that way.
And those are good value places, places where you have a lot of choices. Now, one thing that I would like to touch on is that France, just like the US, is not a very good place to be a tourist and on a diet. Because if you want to keep a fairly strict diet, that's something you can do at home easily.
Yes.
But if you're eating out all the time, it's a little difficult to find, a wide, lots of veggies, for instance.
Yeah, veggies, it's just kind of interesting when you think that when you look at what's available in the market, people do have wonderful vegetables and they eat them at home, but they don't seem to serve them a lot in restaurants.
Well, I know. And it's the same in the U.S. In restaurants, they can't serve vegetables because people won't order that. Yeah. And vegetables
it's kind of a shame. I mean, it's nice every once in a while to have. We did have one meal in one restaurant where there was some very nice veggies. I think one of the other things is that, and it's not even to scare people off, it's just that people should know that France is a very meat and animal product oriented country.
Yeah.
Dairy is very, very important here, and so is animal products. You know.
You'll find a lot of duck. You'll find
lots
a lot
of duck.
You'll find lamb. You'll find when people go out to eat, they want to eat duck, lamb. They don't want a chicken breast.
There's always some chicken, but not that much.
Not that much.
No.
Chicken breast
and fish. But the fish is always, there's usually in every restaurant, usually one or two things with some fish. And then there are restaurants that concentrate on serving a lot of fish.
Right. But they cost more.
But they cost a little bit more.
And it's hard to choose those because most Americans don't really enjoy fish. I don't know. Maybe it is maybe it's all the people from Utah who come visit us.
Yeah,
Not
I think
one of them has ever said, "Oh, I love fish."
Oh, well,
they
I
go,
think that's
"Oh, I'll
'cause
eat
they're not
everything
near
but
the sea.
fish."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is, of course, is that people here don't eat fried food as much as in the States.
And if you get the fish option, it's almost always the healthy option.
It's the healthy option.
So it's going to be a steamed fish mostly, or if it's pan fried, but no
grilled,
breading, grilled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, of course, and it's so popular everywhere. We didn't actually do that. It might be fun to do one night. Is to do moules frites.
Yes.
Which I love.
Yes.
And which, of course, is a very ordinary thing, but I just absolutely love. The big casserole filled with mussels, with different sauces, served with French fries.
Yeah,
it's such a classical French thing to do.
It's very good.
But that depends on the weather. We're starting to talk about food. It's getting to be late. We better hurry up.
So what else did we do on this tour besides eat? We did a few things besides eat and drink.
We
did do an awful lot of eating and drinking.
We did a lot of eating and drinking. Yes, we did. I tried to be moderate, but it was hard.
Me too. And because my doctor has talked to me about this. He's like, okay, you can drink one day
and not the other,
and not the next.
Oh, that's
every other day. So if you want like 2 glasses of wine one day, that's fine. The next day,
none at all.
Don't.
Well, that's like when we went to the wine tasting. I gave you my reds and you gave me your whites.
That's true. We ended up both a little tipsy at the end.
And we were across the table from each other, kind of winking and carrying on. So you have to watch out for the two of us. Really.
But anyway, so I tried to do 1 day on, 1 day off, which I think I kept to that pretty well.
Pretty good.
I was pretty good. Pretty good. But it's important because, your health is what you got and you got to live with it for the rest of your life. So when the doctor says, cut it out, you have to
You got to do it. You got to do it. And then we did, of course, have me going blah, 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 a lot in the museum.
Yes, there was a lot of museum. And, this time we didn't have a good solution for audio inside of the museum.
In some of them we
didn't. And we will try to remedy that for the upcoming tours and have some sort of whisper system, audio system.
Because when we were in the Orsay, it was wonderful. Because it was really great. I could whisper and everybody could hear.
Yes. But unfortunately, in the Orsay, even if you use theirs, they only let you use it for an hour and a half.
An hour and a half, exactly.
And then you have to give it back. Yeah. And so if we have our own solution, I think it would be much better. And I'm hoping to have some, we will have something like that sorted out by October.
I hope we do, because at least having that was already a huge advantage.
Yes.
And of course, we had it also in the Upper Garnier.
Yeah.
And we'll correct it. We're in a couple of other places.
Yeah, we need to do more of that. Let's see. So on the Monday, we went to the Conciergerie, which is where Marie-Antoinette
was held prisoner before she was taken out to be whooped.
Yeah, if you want to call it that. It's an interesting. We didn't have a lot of time there, but it's a very interesting place to see.
That and of course, all the things on the Ile de la Cité. It's the oldest part of Paris.
Yes.
So that's why you start there.
Yes. And we went to the Sainte-Chapelle. We have a nice picture of the group in the Sainte-Chapelle. Then we went to this restaurant called the Saint-Régis. It was kind of a problem because they don't take reservations, so we had to go early. A lot of places where we had good experiences with restaurants, it was because we showed up at the right time. Okay. If you show up a little too late, they're going to be full and you're going to be waiting.
Unless it's a big place that takes reservations.
Unless it's a big restaurant. And those typically tend to not be as good value. Let's put it this way.
Well, if it's the one night we did go to the Bouillon.
Yeah, Bouillon Racine.
It was fine. I mean, because it's a bigger place. We were otherwise we were going to small, intimate restaurants. Yeah. Which makes a big difference. But you're right. We got there just at the moment necessary so that we could, because we were 12.
Yeah.
So it was a fairly big group.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah. And then after when we left the Saint-Régis restaurant, I had the strangest experience of my life because we were walking to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And I was chatting with somebody. I can't remember who I was chatting with. And somebody recognized my voice.
It's amazing.
It was so eerie. And she just turned around. She and her husband turned around And she was looking at me and probably trying to think back of the photos she had seen of me and wondering, is this her? And then she was, are you Annie from the podcast? And I just about killed over because I was like, yes.
That's amazing. It is amazing that she recognized
so,
your voice like that.
She recognized the voice. It was so strange. And then, of course, we gave each other a big hug and we chatted for a few minutes. I mean, she didn't stick around. I can't remember her name right now. I had it written down. Dang it. But it was very, very fun and happenstance and completely unplanned because I don't think she planned to go to Notre Dame just to see us that day.
I doubt it.
No.
I doubt it. I don't think they were following us around.
No, they weren't following us around at all. They just so happened to recognize my voice. So if I want to go incognito, now I have to be quiet.
Yes. No, you have to use one of those machines that disguises your voice a little bit.
Or the whisper system.
Yes.
So I can whisper in your ear. And then we went to Notre Dame and visited that.
And then Place de la Concorde.
Place de la Concorde, where we talked about that stupid American who got taken.
And the obelisk.
The obelisk, yes.
Given by Egypt.
Yes, not stolen.
Not stolen, no.
Then we went to the Orangerie.
Orangerie.
Yes, which was a nice place. You didn't do any guiding.
I explained.
Did you go oh, you weren't inside with us.
No, I didn't go inside with you. I was talking about the history of the Monet murals and the history of the building, which is.
But before we went in.
Yes, before, because it's a complicated little museum to deal with in terms of talking inside.
Right, because in France everything has to be complicated. So to talk inside of a museum, you have to be a certified guide, which Elyse is. I'm not, but she is. And so she can get what's called droit de parole. So you pay a fee and you're given the right to talk inside of an official monument. The problem is, well, if she's not there, it's not going to happen. And also sometimes they say, oh, you can come, but only at this time on that day, you know, and so it's very restrictive. And so we couldn't organize it everywhere. And we'll try to do more of that, but we'll see how we make out. Okay, what did we do on the Tuesday? Tuesday was
Orsay.
Orsay Museum, and there she got to guide inside. I must say, the Orsay is still such a fun museum to visit.
It's a beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful, and it's a place where I can easily spend 3 or 4 hours and not get sick of it.
I think that's pretty much what everybody feels about it. You know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that people can appreciate, and the space it's like a medium-sized museum as opposed to a humongous thing, you know.
Right.
And so it doesn't feel overwhelming.
Right. If you've never been in a museum, maybe it'll feel very large, but honestly, it's not that big.
It's not that
big. And
big.
Visually, you can see one end to the other.
It's very open and spacious.
Right. So you're like, okay, I get to the end of that hall and then another floor. I mean, if you're going to crisscross every floor, it would take you more than a day, probably.
Probably, but it certainly would not take you as long as trying to do something like the Louvre.
Oh, no, nothing like that. And then we ate near the big clock.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah. Our lunch, we had a nice big lunch there.
And continued our visit.
And continued the visit some more. And then we went.
It's a very good bookshop and gift shop there, too.
Yeah. And then we went to the Arc de Triomphe and Champs-Élysées. And I think I'm not sure if we'll do that next time because there's
trying
not
to decide.
That.
Maybe do it in a different way.
Yeah. Like see the Arc de Triomphe maybe by car at night, drive around it. That's fun. But you know what? Walking up, I mean, several people in the group walked up all the stairs and took a really nice video. Susanna took a really nice video, time lapse from up there, which I really enjoyed. I don't know that I could. It was so hot that day too.
Yeah.
It was so on this trip. I have to say we got both hot days and very, very wet.
Mm-hmm.
We got both,
yes, we did,
which is normal Paris weather for May. It's and it can happen like that in September and October as well.
Yes,
so
it can.
Kind of the shoulder season, you know, that's how it is. So yeah, but we dealt with it. Like we changed our plans a little bit. The one thing we had to cancel is going up the Montparnasse Tower
Right.
because they were about to close it because visibility was
It was a
almost
storm.
zero.
Yeah.
It was a big storm, big storm, and they were like, well, you know what? Because I went, and I said, well, what's happening? Can we go up? And I knew we weren't going to go up because everybody had left already, but I just wanted to test it. And, and she said, if your group is not here, you can't because we're going to close it because there's no visibility up there.
Right.
So unfortunately, that can happen.
But that does
weather.
happen when you have a week's tour. Sometimes you do have to make adjustments because of weather.
Yeah, and so now we go the next tour. We'll work it out so that we can just swap days. If we have a rainy day, we'll just swap morning and afternoons and do stuff like that. So that and this is what we did this time also. But anyway, what else did we do? So the Louvre the next day.
Well, Wednesday, we went to the Louvre.
Went to the Louvre, had a really nice visit there. Beautiful museum. I mean, obviously, it's gorgeous, but so many people.
So many people. I dream of being able to walk through it without anybody being around. It will never happen.
Yeah. Winged Victory had probably...
Well, it's at the top of the main staircase.
Yeah.
Before you go
can't
off
miss it.
To the different wings of the painting.
Yeah.
And the masses of crowds that come in, they all go up that staircase and they all just hang out there. So it's kind of intimidating at first.
And all the tour guide, the tour books, the guidebooks, they all say you have to take the picture of Winged Victory from 3/4, And so that's what everybody wants to do in there. So they're shoving just to get the right angle for the photo. That photo has been taken a few million times, folks. Why do you want the same photo as everybody else?
Because why does everybody take their photo with the Mona Lisa?
Yeah. It's because
she's smiling at you.
There, yeah.
Hi, she's smiling at me. Hi.
I don't know what she's thinking.
Anyway, it's a fabulous museum.
Yeah.
It's honestly, what we do is just a kind of mini visit because we just spend a few hours there.
Yeah.
For people who are really interested in certain kinds of art, it's worth going off on their own and seeing things that are away from the masses of the crowds because there's so much to see. Yesterday, I met a young woman who's works in an interior decorator in Washington, D.C., and she and her sister are actually, I think it's today and tomorrow in Paris, and she'd never been before, and so she asked me where to go because they were thinking of going to the Louvre. And I said, aside from the fact that there are other museums that might have interesting things if you're a decorator, I said, if you go to the Louvre, you leave behind the parts with the big paintings and you go to the decorative arts section, which is there.
Yes.
Which has furniture and porcelains and pieces from Napoleon and pieces from Louis XVI and pieces from this and that. And I said, then you will have a wonderful time and it will be empty.
Right.
So I hope she does.
And I think next time we do a tour, we need to spend a little time with each participant, helping them decide what would be a good spot for them to go visit in the Louvre outside of the things that you're going to show them.
And then get them, because we can't go everywhere with everybody.
No.
That's
we
the
can't.
problem.
I mean, there's just two of us and we can't accompany you
and
everywhere.
some people want to do one thing and some people want to do another. And that's
But I think some of the people were taken off guard and going, oh, I don't know, what do I want to see? I don't know, I'm not sure. Whereas if we had worked with them, ask them a few questions first.
Some people, I guess, if they don't have an experience with a lot of art museums, they really don't know.
Right, they haven't thought about this.
No, they haven't really thought about it.
What would I select if given a chance?
Right.
And so I think that's something that's
maybe have a few photos, to show a picture of what's in the Egyptian wing, what's in the Roman and Greek sculpture areas, that kind of an idea, because
and they have Muslim art.
The Islamic art section is beautiful. Yeah. There's a Babylonian and pre whatever section that's really fantastic. I once did a workshop there where they taught you. They gave you a little piece of a triangular stick and some kind of soft clay like Play-Doh. And they showed you how the Sumerians invented writing by pressing it into it. I mean, there's stuff like that everywhere. I mean, it's just insanely rich.
Yeah. It's a gorgeous museum. So that's something we'll do differently next time, I think. Then let's see. On Thursday, we went to the Opéra Garnier.
Oh, wait. We didn't finish Wednesday.
No, we didn't finish Wednesday.
We didn't finish
Oh,
Wednesday.
we went to Montmartre.
We went to Montmartre. Okay.
Ugh.
I love Montmartre. Annie is not that big a fan,
No.
but we went to Montmartre, and I think it's wonderful, and it's funky, and it's very pretty and picturesque. And it's this old village where artists and writers genuinely really did live for a long time, and it's still a village, and it really is the place that's the most coveted by actors and artists and writers in Paris to live, because once you get past the 2 or 3 blocks that are just mobbed with tourists, you get into this quiet area with these lovely little houses and gardens and things like that.
And for next time, Elyse
we'll do a little bit of a different itinerary.
We'll do a different itinerary and go more to the quiet
to
places.
the quiet part.
And I will.
Sacré-Cœur is interesting to see.
Yeah,
anyway.
Sacré-Cœur is fine, but I'll do a separate episode where I talk about safety, because we had some tiny. Well, we had some mishaps, and most of them happened to me. So
live and learn.
Live and learn. But I will share the lesson learned, but not today, because today we just want to talk about the positive stuff.
The positive stuff.
And the vast majority was all positive. It's just,
So from there we went on to a wine tasting that was really wonderful.
Yes, the wine tasting was very good.
It gets you really.
Yes. I think next time what we need to do is do the same wine tasting, but plan on a restaurant near the wine tasting.
So we can go right there.
So we can sober up. Because, wow. I mean, they gave us a little bit of some nibbles, but it wasn't very much.
No, and it is a lot of wine because it's a lot of different wines and good wines.
Yeah.
So a fairly generous amount.
Yeah. So I think what we'll do next time is I'll just look for a good value restaurant nearby. And we can just walk there and have some, leisurely dinner and, get it out of our system.
And then literally we were at the metro. It was like 3 stops back to where we started.
Well, it was close. Really it was fine. It was fine. But
so that was Wednesday.
Then we went to the Opéra Garnier.
Yes.
And we were obviously on the next tour. We might not do it on the Wednesday, but we will go to the Opéra Garnier.
No chance to not do it.
Yeah, we will do that because it is such a beautiful, beautiful place.
And I get to talk into my little whisper thing.
Yes, the whisper things are good. And we also did Galerie Lafayette a little bit before and after.
A little bit before and after. Get to see the fancy chocolates, which I actually posted a couple of pictures of. Asked people if they could guess what they were. I was getting answers from everything imaginable except for chocolate.
Yes. The little round ones that look like
round ones
planets.
And the ones that were sticks with all these different colors.
Yes.
And one person answered and she said to me, "Oh my goodness, it looks like Japanese something or other." And I went, "Well, wow, it was Japanese chocolates."
There you go. Well, in my tiny village, we have a chocolatier, and he makes those weird, beautiful looking chocolates. Yes, they are very expensive.
Strange looking.
Yeah. They're very, very
expensive.
Yes, but very good. So for special occasions, we take some family and friends, all over the world.
And tell them not to swallow it too quickly.
Go slowly. Yes.
Put it in your
Enjoy
mouth
it slowly, because that was like a €3 piece of chocolate.
That's right. And we're talking about something that's
very small,
half a millimeter.
Yeah, very small. Okay, so we did that.
What did we do after that? We went.
Then we went to Montparnasse to the crêperie.
No, we went to the Musée Rodin.
Ah, yeah, Musée Rodin. Oh, and that's when Sharon met us.
That's when Sharon met us.
So Sharon had organized. She had arranged this. To meet us there, and it was very fun. So we spent the rest of the day with her. She joined the group, and she was a hoot. So,
and then we were in the gardens and into the museum, which is very, very lovely.
Yep.
Very peaceful.
Then Montparnasse, we went to eat at the crêperie in Montparnasse because that's what you do in Montparnasse.
Because Montparnasse is an area where there are lots of people from Brittany.
Yes, and there was this Brittany festival going on, so they were marching in the streets.
Celtic music.
Yeah, with bagpipes.
But they got drowned out.
The storm was terrible.
Terrible.
Everybody got home soaked. I mean, I'm sure, back to the hotels. It was
really a hard rain. It really was.
Windy, super hard rain. It just got really bad in a big hurry. So that's why they closed the Tour Montparnasse and we couldn't go up. But we warmed up eventually. All right, so the Friday.
We went to Le Marais.
Le Marais.
Which I love.
Yes, and Elyse does a very nice walk in the Marais. She knows these places and she can tell you all sorts of good
And
stories.
I like it because it's where it's old. There's little houses and little streets. And
It's seriously old.
seriously old. Exactly.
And we ate at Las du Falafel.
Yes.
And we didn't even have to line up.
No.
We went in, sat right down.
We got there just in the nick of time.
Just in time. It's all a matter of timing, folks. That's where having a French person with you helps, because I knew exactly. I was like, yeah, this place, we got to get there by noon and not 5 minutes later.
That's right.
5 minutes later.
It was gone. There was a line outside.
Like, yeah, huge. So, I mean, you could try it, but yeah, as falafel is so popular that if you don't time it right, it's not going to happen.
And then we went to the Picasso Museum.
Right. Then we went to the Picasso Museum all together, and it was very nice.
Very nice.
I realized that Picasso had issues, but of course, I should have known that before. You just look at some of the art, and you're like, oh my God, that man. What was it with him and the bulls?
And the what?
The bulls.
Well, the bull was him. I mean, that was his surrogate.
Yeah, but then seeing the bull raping the woman, and
well, that's mythology too.
Yeah, well, it was sick. Okay,
Minoan.
Yeah. Some of it was like, oh, don't really want to see that. But anyway, some of it is absolutely exquisite.
And the museum is beautiful.
The museum is very nice.
It's in a 17th century chateau.
Yeah. It was my first time there. It's very classy.
Yes. Very new museum.
Yes. And that one is included in the museum pass.
Yes, it is.
So that was good. We got the museum pass at the beginning. And I think we got our money's worth.
Oh, we definitely got our money's worth. Definitely.
Yeah. So a nice place. And then what did we do?
And then we had a nice fancy dinner.
Oh yeah. Then we went to the
Bouillon
Racine, which is a nice restaurant.
I posted the picture of the asparagus soup.
Yes.
I got so many comments.
Oh, that was good soup.
That was really delicious.
That was good soup. What I got afterward, I got brandade de morue.
Yes, yours was a little bit salty.
I didn't like it that much.
I love that restaurant, though. I really like the service. It's beautiful.
The service was impeccable.
And really, honestly, once in a while, it's nice to be in a restaurant that's a little roomy.
Yes. You had more elbow room and more, they don't rush you. They don't rush you anywhere in Paris, but when there's a lot of people pressing to get in, you kind of get the vibe, I should hurry.
This is very beautiful Art Nouveau.
It's
a building that's a historical monument. It's
I think that's the most expensive place.
That was the most expensive place we went to.
And it was probably 35.
It was a prefix. You could get otherwise, but it was a good deal.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Didn't have wine that night, so mine was just like
You
35.
didn't. I had one glass.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. So that was a lovely, lovely dinner. And then on Saturday
we split up.
We had to split up because different people wanted to do different things.
Right.
Which is again, you're not going to find that in the other tour because the other tours tell you get by the bus at 8 and shut up.
I don't know if they say
that. They don't say it quite like that, but I mean, it's like there's no flexibility of anything. No. It's like it's set in stone. And whereas I think we were very good about trying to meet the needs of everybody who was there.
I think we were. I think we did even more sometimes than we needed to have done in a sense, because I think it was the first time.
Right.
And I think it's hard when you're doing a tour the first time to know when to say, okay, I know that you guys want to do this and you guys want to do this and you guys want to do this. We can't be everywhere with everybody,
Yeah.
So it's like we were trying to be everywhere with everybody and do everything, but we did as much as we could possibly do.
Yeah, we did as much as we could, and we were quite happy to accommodate, the needs of various people, which, it was
So
good.
you went to...
I went to Père Lachaise.
She went to Père Lachaise.
And it was so fun because with us was Steve from Florida. And Steve from Florida, he's a surveyor. And I didn't realize this, but surveyors get the lay of the land really fast.
Yep.
I gave everybody a map. And so because I was sure I was going to have difficulty finding some of these stones, some of these graves, I told everybody, pick a grave that you'd like to go see. And I gave them a map. And you can find that map on the website. If you search for On Join Us in France, if you search for Père Lachaise, you can click on the PDF and download that and do it by yourself. But
it's kind of tricky to find the graves.
Oh, some of them are really hard to find.
Yeah.
It's very big.
Yeah, it's a big cemetery, and so everybody had picked different graves, and Steve was like, it was like magic. We could just tell him, okay, we'd like to go to that grave, and he'd go, all right, let's follow me, and and
that was it.
And he didn't get lost once. I don't know how that's possible in there, and I've been there like 6 or 7 times or something, and we had a nice long discussion about the, what sort of, well, the burial habits and rites of France, because the rules are different.
They're
here,
very different.
You pay for a concession for, à perpétuité, concession à perpétuité, which means 99 years. And then somebody next, when the 99 years are approaching, whoever wants to bury someone again in that plot will be told, dude, you got to pay up, or...
And not only that, but they layer people here.
Yeah, they layer people, so you can do people like 10 or 12 deep or
Which
above
does
ground.
not happen in the States.
Well, because it's a huge country. Look at us. We're teeny. We got to save the space.
She's crazy. She's crazy. She's crazy. I went to the Pantheon where the dead people that are important are buried, but that you didn't have them in a cemetery.
There's important people at Père Lachaise as well.
That's true. What's the difference? The Pantheon says it's for people who have contributed greatly to the country.
Yeah, so the Pantheon is like it's a non-religious shrine.
Now it is.
Yes.
Now, because it wasn't originally.
Yeah.
But
it was built to be a church.
But it's enormous, right? It's a copy of the Pantheon in Rome, but 5,000. I'm exaggerating, of course. It's huge. It's enormous, and it really is now the place. If someone is to be buried there, it's a great, great, great honor.
Mm-hmm.
And,
oh yeah.
And most of the times, until recent times, was not women.
Well, they've noticed now that. What do you know? They didn't find it suitable to bury a lot of women in there.
No.
So there must not have been any worthy women.
Right, except for
or
Madame
any women
Curie.
that did anything important, which, on the face of it is stupid. So they're now kind of thinking, okay, we got to change this.
Yeah.
And
There still are only a few.
Yeah, there's only a few.
But Madame Curie is the most important.
Yeah.
Really.
And she is well deserving, but she's hardly the only one. So.
But that was, so while you were in the Père Lachaise, I did the Latin Quarter.
Yes.
And the history of the Sorbonne and the universities, which is all around the hill where the Pantheon is. And going in and out of the Pantheon and looking at the structure, which is like Neo-Greek classical, enormous structure. And then going to the church called Saint-Étienne-de-Mont, which is very small but very beautiful inside, with a nice little surprise on the inside. Very gorgeous. And then we do a couple of little surprise stops, which don't even want to talk about because they're surprises. And then come around down a couple of streets with some very old houses and go and visit the Cluny Museum.
Right.
Which is one of my, it's not for everybody. I just love it. I just find it.
It's not a huge museum.
It's not huge, but it's got a couple of things that are so special. It's got one room that has small pieces of the stained glass from the 11 and 1200s. Really, you get to see them right up close, and you get to see the detail on it and how they painted on them and how they colored the glass and everything. And it's kind of a trip. The museum is a museum of medieval art, religious and secular art. So you have a lot of religious stuff from the early into late Middle Ages, but also some interesting things like the chests of drawers that were where people kept all their important goods.
Yeah.
The shields.
Keys. They have a lot of keys. Really old keys.
Yeah, it's a neat kind of thing. And I was telling the group while you were in the Père Lachaise talking about old, I was telling them that the very first time I came to Paris, which was a very long time ago because I'm really that old, the museum had not been renovated yet. And it was like walking into a mausoleum. It really was. It was the musty, dusty, kind of funky place. And I thought, whoa, this is really weird.
Yeah.
But it's really a lovely place. And there's the famous unicorn tapestries, which I love. Which are
really nice. They're all in one. Well,
they're in one room.
They're all in one room, but there's a decoy before you get there.
Well, there are a couple of the tapestries.
Yeah. But you have to wait until you get to the one room that has all of them. Yeah.
And
they're lovely.
They're beautiful. And, of course, the thing that makes it even more special now, and they're going to change it because they're doing work on the outside, is that they've got also now you can walk into some of the rooms that were part of the Roman baths.
Mm-hmm.
And the work they're doing on the museum is to change where the entrance into the museum is. And so, interestingly enough, instead of ending with the Roman baths, now people will be beginning with them.
We'll start there.
They'll start there.
That's not going to be finished for a while.
Not for about a year.
Yeah. So it's not going to be there for
And then we had a very heavy, rich, long day there. Then we all met up together at the Centre Pompidou.
Yes. Oh, that's right, Centre Pompidou. Yes. I forgot. And
which actually was not on the program. It was
No,
just
we
it was an
added
add-on.
we added that because we had to turn.
A couple of people really wanted to.
Yeah, and also we had to change some things around
something.
because of the rain, and So, but it was a lovely.
It was.
It's inside. It's interesting.
It's big. It's got lots of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then some free time, and everybody went crazy because they were running around trying to do their last-minute purchases and everything.
Yeah, and so next time we do this, we will try to
add a little bit more.
Add a little bit more free time, and maybe go with, split up. So Elise can take a group to one shopping area, and I'll take another to another shopping area, because, of course, if you know Paris very well, you know exactly what you want.
Right.
But most people who were with us, even if they had been to Paris a few times, it's been years. They forgot. They weren't sure what they wanted, and so we will be suggesting a few shopping areas.
Right, and we do need to give a little bit more free time.
Yeah, a little bit more free time. It would be very nice if we could also add a flea market or a food market at some point, and a little picnic.
We're going to have to figure out how to squeeze all of this in.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of stuff, but I would also really like to add kind of a car, Uber, a drive around the city at night.
That sounds like a nice idea.
Yeah, and just hit all the Paris by night spots, because it's fun. You can cover a lot of ground with a
and
car.
And it's nice to just get to see. We don't, in 1 week, it sounds like a lot. It's not. And there's so many neighborhoods we don't get to.
Mm-hmm.
So many places that are really interesting to take a look at that we will just not be at. We
can't.
We can't be everywhere.
Yeah, Paris is a big city.
It's a big city.
Be everywhere. Yeah. The other thing that I think we need to do differently is I had insisted on a concert at Notre Dame, and I must say, I won't do that again. I have been to 2 concerts at Notre Dame. The first one was absolutely fantastic. This one, it was for people who really know and love
liturgical
Baroque music.
Yeah. It was liturgical.
And listen, I have a husband who sings in a choir, and and my in-laws are choir people, and I recognized one piece.
Yeah, I think it was not. I think you're right. I think part
of
it
is
obscure. That it's very lovely. I love the idea that we go one night to a concert, but I think it needs to be music that's not so highly specialized.
Right. Very more approachable music, and so we don't know. I'll start looking at what's on in October, but we'll do a concert one night
because it's lovely to do.
It's very fun to do, but that one, I'll skip the hoity-toity Notre Dame concerts. Unless I go with my in-laws, and then they would be very, very happy. They'd recognize everything. Yes. And be like, oh, I haven't heard that piece in 50 years. And be like, yeah, there's a reason for that. I'm just kidding.
We didn't snore.
None of us snored. Everybody behaved themselves very, very nicely.
But I think it was hard to sit through the whole thing.
But we just need to do something.
It was.
We need to look at some things that we're going to do before the tour and after the tour. So we will probably add. So it'll be an extra excursion that you can purchase separate. But I went to Giverny with Amy, and I really enjoyed that. So I think we'll do that, but this time we'll spend a little more time. I had a time constraint because I was getting on a flight back home, and I tried to change my flight, but it was all booked, and so I couldn't. And so next time we'll do it before. So we'll do on the Saturday. We'll do it on the Saturday before the tour starts, and we will spend the whole day at Giverny. So do the gardens, do the house, but also there's a new museum next door to it, and maybe go have a nice dinner or a nice lunch somewhere. There's a few restaurants around there. So that would be one thing. And then after the tour, so on the Sunday after the tour ends, do a whole day
at Versailles.
And Elyse can get us in. She can get us tickets to cut the line, and she could do some guiding there inside of Versailles. So, but those would be add-ons because we can't just fit it all in, you know. So again, the dates we're thinking of is going to be September 30th through October 8th. If you take into account all the add-ons and whatever. And I think the weather is still lovely.
The weather is still lovely.
We won't get anything as hot as we did in May, I don't think.
No.
May, it got to good.
Oh, we were up to 90.
We were 90,
Yeah, 28. That's 90.
It got hot. And our friend Steve overheated a few times. The poor
man.
It
was hot. It was the day we had to do the walk up the hills in Montmartre in the heat was hard.
Yeah.
It is hot.
Yeah.
It's hot when you're on the sidewalks.
Yes. Well, especially going up Montmartre.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is not my favorite.
Well, I really do like it, so it's okay. Yeah.
I'll let you make a proposal. I'll let you convince me.
The other thing is, I think that one of the reasons why it's nice to do it out of the really hot months is because lots of places in France are not air conditioned.
And even if they are, they don't turn it on yet.
Right. And I mean, small restaurants are not air conditioned at all.
Yeah.
Obviously, some hotels are, some hotels aren't. Big stores are.
Yeah.
But lots of little places are not.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be there when it gets too hot.
Yeah. So I think next year for 2018, we'll try to have dates one in May.
Maybe one earlier.
One earlier, probably. So we might do one in April, one in May, and then one in September, one in October, or something like that. So it'll be, shoulder season. We don't want to go in July and August.
Never.
It is too hot.
And June is Roland Garros, and it's too complicated.
Yeah, June is already very, very busy in Paris.
Very busy.
And it was very busy in May. Mid-May was already busy. So if we go, June is going to be, too much.
I mean, sometimes people are willing to go even into the colder months. You just have to be aware of the fact that it can get cold.
Yeah, November, some years you luck out.
Sometimes you luck out.
You luck out, but there's no way to know.
No. One year I was with a group and we were there the first week of November and we did an extra day's excursion to Reims, which is of course gorgeous, and it's got the cathedral and the wine and the champagne tastings and everything. But we were not prepared for deep winter weather.
Yeah.
And it was cold.
Yes. As soon as it gets wet, it can get, especially Reims.
Especially Reims because it's damper.
Yeah.
So it was a shame because it's a beautiful, beautiful place to visit.
Yeah.
But boy, none of us were prepared in terms of clothing. So lessons to be learned.
Yeah. So for this tour, the previous tour I had on the website, I had put up like a day by day thing. This time I don't think I'll do that.
No.
This time I think I'll just put
the week?
A list of the week, a list of the things we're going to do. And as we get closer, we will make more precise adjustments.
Because you don't know. Sometimes we have to move things around.
Right. And we've told you everything that you need to know. If you're thinking about booking this tour, listen to this episode a couple of times and decide if it's for you or not. But I'm hoping to get feedback from, unfortunately, and I hadn't planned any time for recording anything. Because when you record, I had brought my recorder and I used it to, record background noises of things that I want to use here and there.
At the restaurant.
Like at the restaurant, yes. But I'll cut out any conversations that we were having. But the thing is, I need to plan on, one-on-one. Come with me. Let's go to a quiet room and talk.
That takes a lot of time.
For 15 minutes. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, and I hadn't planned on it. And so next time I will try to plan that, because it's great to get people's, right there and then everybody was very excited about the whole thing. And so,
bubbly.
Yes, very bubbly and very happy to be there. I think we got a lot of steps in. We did plenty of walking. And next time we might add a little bit more in the evening, especially maybe add an Uber ride back to the hotel here and there because sometimes at the end of the day you're pretty tired.
Oh, yeah. We're tired.
Yeah. All right, Elyse, here we are.
I can't believe it. We've already gone through this whole thing.
Yeah, but it's so... Honestly...
It was great.
It's not like when I was young, I grew up and said, I want to be a tour guide and tell people about France. I never thought that. It was never my thing. Excuse me, dog. We'll be there in a second. But you know
She's
what?
got an emergency.
It is so fun.
It's fun.
It is so fun when you can do it this way. The other way with a busload, I would never do that.
No.
I would never do that. That's not.
But then the people that want to come with us would not do that either.
They wouldn't do that either. And so for us, it's really good to have small groups, individual, it's not one-on-one, but almost. I mean, really, if you...
10, 12 people,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
It's so nice. You can get to know everybody. You get to know their preference. After a while, I could guess, who was gonna... Like, I'd go look at the menu and go, oh, I know somebody who's not gonna like this menu.
That, yes.
Yeah, of course, because but it's okay. You make, you give everybody room to be themselves and to enjoy Paris to the fullest, which is what we want to do.
Which is a whole...
Right. Okay, I better stop talking because my dog is going to bite me.
She is.
She wants to get out. She's a crotchety old lady. Can you... I'm pretty sure you're going to get to hear her clicking toes going around the house going, come on, get up. We haven't had the walk yet.
Oh, poor dear.
Yeah, I know. We'll go soon. I'll kick you out and then I'll take the dog on
Goodbye.
a walk.
I'm going to go. I have to walk. You're going to walk two old ladies, me and her.
All right, everybody. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
My thanks to the listeners who signed up to support the show on Patreon in the last couple of weeks: Nancy Calkins, Todd Costella, and Stephanie Ellis. And thank you to the 58 patrons who support the show month after month. I want you to know how much I appreciate your continued support. To support the show on Patreon, go to patreon.com/join us. patreon.com. Join us with no dashes or spaces or anything like that. And thank you also to Sophia Semensky and Paul Goes. I'm not sure how to say that name, for sending in a donation via the Tip Your Guide button on Join Us in France. Much appreciated, Sophia and Paul. Sophia also left a lovely note, which reads in part, "Thank you so much for producing this podcast. There is no other resource like it. I have been listening to podcasts for years, from TED Talks to NPR, and yours is my absolute favorite. I look forward to more episodes because at my rate of consumption, I am burning through the archives. However, I have saved a couple of shows that look especially good for the plane ride." Sophia, that's a really good idea. Save some for the plane ride. That's really good. Last week, I asked for voice feedback on using Uber in Paris, and someone called the number and left the following message. I will play it for you right now. This person didn't say her name, so I can't tell you her name, but thank you for giving extra details about your Uber experience in Paris. To leave me a voice message, call 801-806-1015, and this is just a voicemail box. It doesn't ring at my house, so you don't have to worry about time difference. You can call whenever you want, and I'll either call you back or send you a message back.
Hello, I just listened to your episode about using Uber in Paris. We just returned from a trip in Paris where we did use Uber and the Metro and the RER a couple of times. We used Uber from our hotel in Disneyland Paris to get into Paris, as well as we called Uber to get to the Bateau Mouche on the Seine one night. We attempted to call it to go back to our Airbnb one night. It was raining that evening, otherwise we would have just walked. And then we also used it to get to our airport hotel. We did have a really good experience using it. I thought the tips in your podcast were kind of what we experienced, that the Uber drivers didn't speak English as well as kind of everybody else that we talked to. But we, we all knew kind of conversational French. So we would, kind of do exactly what was said in the podcast. We'd say, our bonjours, we'd, use our Google Translate app and, speak to the drivers that way and do the best that we could. When I think the only really bad experience that we had was when we were trying to get back from the Bateau Mouche in the rain. The app estimated that it would be about 20 minutes until our driver came, and we were just waiting and waiting and waiting. And it was raining, and I think we saw several taxis come up. I believe we even saw another Uber driver come up and pick people up. It seemed everybody from our boat was picked up for us. And the Uber driver kind of on the app screen, it was just spinning around in traffic, and then the wait time was going up and down. And we were like, why did he, accept our ride if he was so far away? What is happening here? And we ended up waiting probably about 50 minutes. And then we wound up just taking a cab that somebody had, one of the, couples that was going on the next Bateau Mouche ride. The taxi driver was dropping them off. So we just said, are you available? Like, can we take you home? Because it was still raining. We were just getting soaked kind of waiting. That was really the only bad kind of experience that we had. And everything else was really great. When we took Uber to get to Charles de Gaulle Airport hotel, the Uber driver was really quick. We had been at the Hotel des Invalides, and there wasn't really a pickup location, so we just kind of on our own walked over to the Rodin Museum because we knew that it was kind of the side street area. It'd be easier for a pickup, so we walked over there. The Uber driver was really quick. We did end up tipping our drivers a little bit just based on the length of the journey or where they were taking us, just really depending on, our if we were going, when we went from Disneyland Paris into Paris, they were helping us with our luggage. When we went over to Charles de Gaulle, our parents had taken our luggage over earlier. They were already at the hotel, but the trip was only, supposed to be about an hour with traffic. We wound up being kind of in the Uber for about an hour and a half. But based on the map and kind of his maneuvers, I could tell that he was really trying to avoid any semblance of traffic just for us and for himself. So we ended up giving them little tips for things like that. And, in the States, I actually probably wouldn't have done that. But we did have a good experience, and I did really enjoy listening to your podcast on that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan Harris, Bows and Bordeaux, and Petru Bargu for sharing the last Join Us in France episode on Facebook in the last few days. Anytime you share an episode on Facebook, you make it possible for the show to be heard by new people, so thank you very much. I also want to thank all the people who get in touch with me to offer to record an episode with me about their experience in France. I could not do the show without all of you sharing your knowledge, and as far as I'm concerned, the people who just visited France are the real experts. If that's something you would like to do as well, connect with me either on the Join Us in France closed group on Facebook or email Annie@joinusinfrance.com, or I suppose you could also call the voicemail 801-806-1015. And now, as promised at the beginning of the episode, here's some feedback on the inaugural tour from Steven Struck, who shares his impressions and experience as a tour member. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me after the tour, Steve. And I hope to add feedback from other tour members to the end of other episodes.
Hello.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Annie, I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Let me make sure that my recorder is on.
All right.
Yes, it's on. Can I hear you okay? Talk a little bit.
Okay. Is this okay level? Can you hear me fine?
Yep, I can hear you just fine. Excellent. So
Awesome.
how you been?
I've been good.
Yeah.
It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks already. That's crazy.
I know. I have tried to do. I was sure I would get so much done, and you just get. The days are too short. That's all I'm saying. Days are.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, thank you so much for writing a review on TripAdvisor. I saw that this morning. Thank you.
Oh, good. Sure. Absolutely.
And also thank you for coming on the show to tell me, what you thought about the tour. What was your experience with it? What did you think?
I guess I would say, very honestly, it was exactly what I thought it'd be plus more, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
Planning is so much a part of a trip for me anyway. The months before, you kind of figure out what you're going to do, where you're going to stay, and of course this time everything was pretty much done for us except for finding a hotel. So it was wonderful. It was just great. If the days were really full.
Yeah.
We had flexibility. And the timing was good. We didn't have to get up at 6 a.m.
Oh, no, I would never do that. Elyse even less. She doesn't like to get up at all. She's not a morning person.
Oh, good. Okay. and the nights were comfortable too. They didn't go till 1 a.m. or whatever. So plenty of time to sleep, relax, get back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
nice.
we lucked out. It was a fun group of people, really.
It really was. Very cohesive.
Yeah.
Very cohesive.
Yeah. I thought.
And I think that number was a good size.
Yeah. 10, 12, maybe 14. I don't know. Yeah. But it was really ideal because we got to know everybody one-on-one. And we got to know everybody's preferences and, little quirks.
Yeah, quirks. We all have them.
Of course we do. Of course we do. No, it was.
Conversely, we got to know you and Elyse, which I'm not going to put you on the celebrity status, but in a sense, never knew you more than just the podcast, right?
Right.
So this time it was maybe at lunch we would just talk about family or life or just a lot of laughter. We had a lot of laughter.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah, and it was actually, I think you're the first one who said, "Oh my, it's just like I'm listening to the podcast." When Elyse started doing the guiding,
yeah,
like, oh.
It was crazy. You look at her and then you look away like, well, she can't be here, but of course she was. Yeah, both of you guys. So it was cool. It was great.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and I think we really lucked out with the people who signed up because they were just eager to learn and have fun, and so that's what we did. And
a good age range, right? I mean, the youngest was what, 20, 21,
yeah.
18, something there?
Yeah,
and up to maybe I'm gonna guess about in the 80s, early 80s.
Probably,
maybe?
Yep.
Yep, and what a great range, but there was certainly no division, no separation. Everybody just connected and talked.
Right. Everybody had fun with each other and learned from one another. And everybody, I had fun listening to you guys trying to pronounce all the words.
Okay. So we don't speak French yet. Well, yeah.
You will though. Soon you will. Tell us about your move to France a little bit.
Okay. So for the 3 years before I came here, I knew I wanted to live in Europe for retirement status.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly sure where. Had to be near the sea, and I am about 25 minutes from the English Channel. I like cooler climates, which is why Brittany worked for me personally. Yeah. Then France, I really wish I could tell you why France, but I can't. I love France. I of course, seeing the capital, that type of thing. But when I came over a year and a half ago or so, just to make sure Brittany was the area, and it was, and I came back last June, a year ago this month, and I said, yep, it's great. So my plan is to see, I've seen a lot of Europe, but I want to see a lot more, possibly doing like because the railroad system is, as you know, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Between that and maybe doing some Airbnb or some small inns, I think it should be a very affordable way to see all of Europe at my time and my detail. Coming from California every time was a $3,000 trip
Yeah.
and 3 weeks maximum and back home.
Right. Whereas
So
here, once you're here, you can easily, go visit lots of places at your leisure.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why the move to France and or to Europe and then to France in particular and Brittany. Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
it's good.
That's
It's
cool.
good. It's good.
And
Yeah.
French people are not driving you too crazy yet?
I have to tell you, I don't know how much of this you have to edit out, but but everybody's been 90% have been the most friendly, phenomenal people. I do the bonjour and then I say hello,
Yeah.
so they know that I'm not going to be able to go full on.
Uh-huh.
And I have to tell you, between that and Google Translate showing them what I'm asking for,
Yeah.
people are so helpful. Today I went for is it carte vitale?
Yes, carte
My
vitale, yes.
Okay. So I went down and filled out the paperwork for that, and the lady was just so friendly, so helpful. She goes, "But this is France. It's going to take time." I said, "Okay. I was warned. So
Well, it's great that you can already qualify to apply. I thought it would take longer.
After 90 days of residency, Annie, which I completed, with able to provide my cell phone bill
Yeah.
or my electric bill for 3 full months, which I can now do. That pretty much was the last key factor to make it happen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then she said, if you have to go to the doctor tomorrow for whatever reason, you'll pay for it now, but they'll reimburse everything because they'll start it as of today. It seems almost too simple. In the U.S., it's much tougher and much more expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot more expensive, of course. Yeah.
Well, you lived there a while ago, so yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I still remember, and I do know that when I go back to the U.S., we have to take travel insurance because if we need to go see doctors or whatever, if any of us get sick during the trip, if you don't have insurance in the U.S., it's even worse.
Yes.
Which I had never experienced before because we always worked and had insurance through work.
Right.
But if you don't, then you're really hurting. So,
it's painful. It's painful.
Yeah. Well,
so that's
fantastic.
my story.
That's fantastic. So who do you think this type of tour is good for? Like, what type of person should consider coming on this tour?
Okay, the same type of tour we just did, roughly?
Yeah.
Basically? Okay. I think I'll give you 2 scenarios. I have been to Paris many times before this trip.
Yeah.
Before this tour, I should say, I'm sorry. And I always did them on my own, self-guided, pulled out a book, whatever.
Yeah.
I think people that have been there should not discount this tour because you are going to learn so much from you also, Annie, from you and Elyse, not just Elise's history, but you know a ton. And between you two, my head filled every single day. So I think anybody, even if you've been here, don't discount that. People that have never been here, what a great starting point! What an awesome starting point to see Paris and to learn about some of the places. Certainly are icons. Everybody knows about them, but there are other places we went to that people may not have ever heard of.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
And age-wise, I probably not too young because we've sat in restaurants for a while and we did do a wine tasting, which was wonderful.
Yeah.
And educational. So probably closer to early 20s and up to infinity. As long as you're ambulatory and can get around.
Yeah. We do walk. We walked a lot.
6.7 miles average.
6.7 miles. Wow, you worked it out, huh? That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some days more, some days less.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do have to get to all these places. Even though we were very careful to try and group things in an order that made sense, so we didn't have to be
which you did
all over the place. But you still have to go from one place to the other, get to your daily destination. We tried to get back to the hotel late afternoon every day so that people could have a little bit of a rest if they wanted to, or do some shopping or something like that.
Yeah.
So we'll keep on trying to do that. But anyway, I'm telling you, I had so much fun with you guys. I don't know if we'll ever get lucky and get such a good group together again.
Well, I would say I doubt it, but that's coming from a very personal standpoint.
That's what I think too. Prove me wrong, folks. Prove me wrong.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will.
But we just lucked out so good, and everybody was good sport. I really had a great time.
I think, and another thing just to throw out for me, and well, quite a few of us said it on tour. You guys had chosen many of the places we ate at, and the good thing was we were on our own to choose what we wanted, and we could budget according to our needs. Like if I wanted a glass of wine or two, and the person next to me decided not to spend that kind of money, we were able to do it very comfortably. And we found places in Paris that were reasonable. It was crazy.
Yeah, we tried. I really went all out trying to find good value, restaurants that offer good value, because it's easy to eat well in Paris if you're going to spend $100 per person.
Right.
But if you're going to keep it to, 20 for lunch and 30 or 35 for dinner, then you need to work a little harder, but there's plenty of them. You just need to. A lot of those are very popular because I'm hardly the only French person who's looking for that. But so you have to sometimes time it right. You have to arrive at the right time. But otherwise, that was really, and I think we're going to continue to try to go for value. Of course, if someday we offer a tour that's more of a upscale, well, in that case, of course, we will make different choices. But so far, our plan is to keep it around the same price range because we think...
I think it was comfortable for everybody on the tour.
Yeah. And everybody was able to find something that they enjoyed at those price ranges.
Yeah, exactly right. And people have different dietary restrictions or wants and needs. And I think there was a restaurant that somebody had to walk out of because there wasn't something there. I know there wasn't. Everybody was able to dine and enjoy the group.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to me about this. I have really enjoyed getting to know you. And like I told you at the end of the tour, if you need help with paperwork or anything like that, don't hesitate to, you know where I am, you know where to find me. But you're doing so good. I'm really impressed with how well you're doing with all the French administration and all that. You've got your ducks in a row. That's great.
Well, there's still more ducks that are swimming up I don't know about, but thank you, Annie. It's great, and I will be in touch if I need your help. Absolutely, I promise.
Excellent. All right.
So bonne journée.
Bonne journée à toi aussi.
All right, Annie.
À bientôt.
Okay, au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bientôt.
Thanks for listening to the show. To find out about tours offered by Elyse and I, visit addictedtofrance.com. Please subscribe to the Join Us in France email list. It only goes out about once a month, but it is where you'll find out about our most recent episodes, and you'll also be the first to hear about promos we are running on the tours and anything else new we're cooking up. I invite you to look up the Join Us in France closed group on Facebook, a great place for folks who know a ton about France, exchange tips with those who are just starting to look into visiting France. À bientôt!